First thing first, it is not recommended to use this team as your arena defense unless you have an Artery or high rank up Hokuto. The main reason is because without an Artery or high rank up Hokuto, a regular Hokuto can roam free and might slander your team if you didn't build them properly. Cause I believe a fully researched regular Hokuto can speed contest your Hokuto if she doesn't have any speed research, since the team you will be using will have some greens on it. So the point is, make sure that Hokuto is fast enough to cancel the enemy's regular or Factor Hokuto. So you don't need to worry, as the build that I will show you later will be a nightmare for both regular and Hokuto. With that being out of the way, let's proceed to the Pavonis guide. One thing that I want you to know about Pavonis is that she's a unit that specializes in burn debuff. In PvP, she doesn't need any crit or crit damage, cause your main damage will be from stacking her burn debuff and let the enemy die through it. What makes Pavonis special would be on all of her skills. Her S3 will be the most important skill to set up the right debuffs for Factor Clarice S3. This skill is an AoE skill that can dispel one buff, inflict infirmity for 2 turns, stun for 1 turn, and has a chance to inflict 2 burns for 2 turns. Now, if you haven't watched my previous AG video about Factor Clarice, in short, based on this site, it is said that Factor Clarice S3 will need a stun and 3 other debuffs in order to get her special S3 effect. It is just so happen that Pavonis S3 is really the perfect skill to set up for that, as her S3 gives the stun and 3 other debuffs if all goes right. This is why I said in my previous AG video that Pavonis is the perfect unit to be with Factor Clarice, as they are bound to be together. Even just talking about it really excites me to see how well they are going to be together in PvP contents. Anyways, back to the Pavonis again. Her S2 is a passive where if she hits an enemy that has a burn debuff with her S1, then she will do an AoE follow-up, pushes her own AP by 25%, and has a chance to inflict 1 burn debuff for 2 turns. Next, her S1 is an ST damage that has a chance to inflict 1 stack of burn on the enemy, and per every burn that the target carries, it will boost Pavonis AP by 10% up to 30% max. So make sure to hit the enemy with the most burn debuff with her S1. Of course, while the chance of inflicting burn from her S3 is low, remember that her S3 is an AoE damage, which in itself raises her chance to inflict the burn debuff against the 4 enemies in the arena. But yeah, innate resist exists, so keep that in mind as well. Now that you already know on how to use Pavonis, let's proceed to her best builds. The first build that you see here is her PvP build that was made purely to counter both regular and Factor Hokuto. We got a decent 13k HP and 1.2k def. Ideally though, we also want a high attack for the burn debuff, but this is the most balanced stat that we could get, cause we also got a 150% status accuracy and status resistance. 150% status resistance is the minimum requirement to stop both regular and Hokuto, and 150% status accuracy is the minimum requirement to go against a high resistance enemy. Now you might be thinking, but bro, Hokuto can kill Pavonis easily. And I can only answer that with a flat no. Cause to stop Factor Hokuto is simple, you just need a Qingyan Cat Orb. No matter how strong the Factor Hokuto is, Qingyan Cat Orb will stop her. I can speak like this based on my experience against so many Factor Hokutos. At best, they can only leave you with 10 to 20% HP left. And if you have a high level of Qingyan Cat Orb, then you don't need to worry. Remember, for arena defense, you would want your Pavonis to have a Qingyan Cat Orb. But for offense, you can use Isabel Cat Orb to get the hit accuracy boost against a deflect unit. Anyways, here are the substats. They are made of purples except for the speed, which means you can increase the overall stats further, including her attack. The second build would be her PvE build. You can utilize her crit and crit damage here for extra damage.